Good morning, everybody. It's Justin at Transwest Truck Trailer RV. Today we're going to be continuing the Renegade Super Cs that we've been doing. Right here we have a 2025 Renegade Verona LE, the 40LRB floor plan. So it's going to be a bath and a half model. We have it optioned in the Tundra paint color, so it's going to be an all-white motorhome. And to give it a little bit of contrast, we did the black American racing wheels along with black handles down the sides. So to give it a little bit of extra contrast. So to start off, we're gonna go up front. This is built on the Freightliner M2 106 chassis. So you'll have an 8.9 liter Cummins up here. You'll have 380 horsepower and 1,150 pounds of torque. And what that gives you is a 20,000 pound towing capacity. So with that all white paint job, they carried it down to the bumper instead of giving you that chrome bumper. Freightliner will use a 3-piece bumper up front, so if you happen to catch something on the corner or anything, you can replace sections of it instead of replacing the whole bumper. And if it collapses in, there's a good chance that it can miss the tire and you can still get where you're going if you kind of get a little fender bender going. With it being the Freightliner Super Cs, you have easy access to everything up front and that. So you can get to your coolant, windshield wiper fluid, power steering, oils, and all of that, and you'll have access to a lot more service centers. They do have a gas strut up here and a handle in the front of it, so if you just let go, it'll slowly lower itself down and you don't have to worry about that heavy fiberglass hood slamming down. The newer Renegades have a lot of safety features on it, so while we're up here, you can see one of the side cameras. It'll be a Voyager camera system. It's tied directly into the monitor inside, and we'll look at that once we're in there. Your black American racing wheels with the Renegade center caps, so just to continue the cleaner look that they have. You will have the big side mirrors on it, also black instead of chrome on the poles, and then you have the little chrome mirrors. They are electric mirrors, so the top portion is heated and you can control it from inside. When you're here, you'll have more black accents, the black handle, black steps, and these skid plates make it where it's easier to get in and out, especially when it's wet, snowy, especially here in Colorado. When you get inside, you'll have your leather seats. Both chairs will be air ride. And we'll demonstrate the air seat on the other side when it's easier to get to that lever. You'll have dual 50-gallon fuel tanks. There is a crossover pump between them, so you can just fill up one side and it'll fill up both tanks, or if you pull to an actual truck station, you can fill up both tanks at the same time for even quicker fill-ups. While we go down the side of this, you'll notice you have frameless windows. So they do utilize dual pane frameless windows on here, so they tilt out and you can have them open while it's raining, get a good cross breeze through there, and turn on the max air fans if you want those spring and fall days when it's not too hot out. Up above, you will have Girard slide toppers mounted to each of the slides, and then you have a 2-stage Girard lateral awning. So with it having that middle section, it actually brings that awning height much lower to the ground to give you plenty of patio space and good light or good protection from the sun. So I'm 5'10" and I can almost reach the awning, even though this motorhome's like 13 foot tall. We'll start in the compartments and work our way around it. So the Verona LE is the big brother to the Verona. So a lot of your features in it will be upgraded. So one of the differences, it goes from the AquaHot 250D to the 450D. That'll give you more BTUs. So what that means to you as a customer is quicker, continuous hot water, produces more heat inside because your AquaHot will be your continuous water heater as well as hydronic heating. This does have 3 zones in it, so it'll be the front and the rear of the coach, and also you can control the bay temperatures just to give it that 4-season capabilities. So in this next one, it is a long storage bay, so these 2 compartments actually connect. There is a cutout down here where if you wanted to run an extension cord out through, they do carpet these compartments just to help with vibration and insulation of them. So you'll notice that you have good bulb seals around the edge, and then there's little pinholes all around it. So that makes sure it gets proper compression and seals fully when you slam these doors closed. They are insulated baggage doors, and they do have 2 latches on each of them just to make sure they get equal pressure all the way around that seal. When you're closing them, you do kind of want to slam them because, again, they are tough doors. Up above here, you will have an exterior TV mounted to a gas strut, so you can get to it pretty easily. It's a smart TV with a sound bar, and there are some additional USB ports out here if you want to charge your phone or something outside. So you'll have your entry door here. You'll have double power steps. The entry door is a little bit nicer than most. It'll be a high gloss fiberglass door, so the exterior is painted to match the interiors, the natural color of the fiberglass, but you can kind of see the quality of the fiberglass that Renegade uses throughout it. You do have the keyless entry right here, so you can set your code to unlock it, and then you also have an embossed Renegade handle. We'll work our way back. You do have reverse lights here for helping you back up at night. There's also some on the rear. This back compartment's going to be one of your larger ones. So you'll have another outlet up here. It is ventilated down here to protect more of your base. You have an extra case of tiles from the original batch of the floor, so if you chip or crack a tile, you can do that. And there's also slide room locks, or travel locks for the slides. You don't really need them, but if you're going to go down some rough roads or shaky roads, you can throw those in there just for that added protection to keep the slides from scooting about. So this rear one, again, another small storage spot. You'll have your central vacuum system with all your attachments in here. So you can plug it in down here, clean your compartments from it, or you can connect it to inside and you can reach from one end of the coach to the other. So once we get to the back, they carry on that beautiful white color. You'll have your rear observation camera mounted a little lower so it's not getting blinded by the sun, and it gives you a little bit clearer picture. Their rear fiberglass caps are insulated behind them, as well as they make them into 2 pieces. So if you ever get any collisions on the lower end of that, you can just replace this bottom section instead of having to replace the whole rear fiberglass cap. So that'll cut down on parts and labor significantly. Like we talked about up front, you do have the M2106 chassis. So you have a 20,000 pound tow capacity back here. They do install the Gen Y hitches. Gen Y's brand name's got a lot of recognition as far as being well built and quality hitches. 7-way plugs back there, as well as being prepped for the Voyager camera head system if you want to tow like a trailer with the Voyager cameras on it. The Renegade, the Verona LE comes standard with the Renegade mud flap, so it's just one of those things that they do to give it that little bit higher end. So now we're going to work down the driver's side. So this is going to be most of your utility bays. So in this rear one, you'll actually have the built-in surge protector as well as the automatic transfer switch. You do have a power cord reel. So you pull out on it, you can retract it in, and then once you let go of the button, it'll actually spit a little bit back out just so it doesn't get bound up in there. There's a twist lock here and rollers down there. So when you feed this cord through, you don't have to worry about the cord dragging on the metal down there. It'll help protect the longevity of the cord and you not end up fraying it. This is going to be one of the easier bays for us to look in. So up above here, most of your compartment bays will actually have a little light. So if you're ever working at night, you can do that. You can turn them on and off manually here, or once we get inside at the steps, there's actually a compartment door light that'll let you turn all of them on and off from inside as long as you have the switch set in the right direction. There's another outlet in that back compartment if you want to run stuff on this side. Here you'll have 2 things. You'll have the 8,000 watt Onan diesel generator, so that's going to pull from your 100-gallon fuel tank. Give you a lot of runtime and off-grid capabilities. You'll also have a designated spot for your sewer hose, so that way you don't have to store it in your water bay or in a container or with any of your other items. Now, next compartment is going to be the water bay. So you'll have all of your remote valves in here. You'll have your black tank flush, your cable connection, low point drains, as well as a spigot with a spray hose out here. And then your fresh water hose will be on a power cord reel as well. You do have a whole house water filter that's tied in down here. This bay is heated, so you don't have to worry about it in the winter. And then you can see your tank levels and your battery levels all down here in this control panel. And Renegade cuts out all of the lettering in here, so even if this coach becomes 10 years old and stuff, you don't have to worry about the stickers peeling off and stuff. You know what everything goes to. These next two compartments are going to be tanks and dump stations. So you'll have both of your tanks here. It's a 75 gray black, 75 gray tank, 75 gallon gray tank. You'll have where you'll hook up your dump valves. You can either use a 90 and go straight down, or you can extend it out to go there. Just kind of depends on what kind of surface you're sitting on or what it ends up being at when it's leveled out. Each of those tanks will have 12-volt heating pads on them, as well as the base heating and enclosed. So they're trying to make this as four-season as possible. Renegade wants you to be able to get off-grid any time of the year. So this specific one, it comes standard with one 3,000 watt inverter, but we optioned this one with a second 3,000 watt inverter. So one of those will be for your fridge, your outlets and everything. And then the secondary one will be tied into your front AC directly off those batteries. So you could get some runtime on it without having to turn on your generator. You also have a Victron control panel here, and then side. And there's a servo down here. So what's really interesting about the servo is you can connect your phone to it, and you can see the run time of your batteries and how much power you're pulling and how much time will actually be left on those batteries based on current usage. So in this bay, you'll have your chassis batteries as well as your lithium batteries. So these are two Dragonfly lithium batteries. They're 270 amp hours each. You do have 3 200-watt solar panels on the roof that's going to help supplement these, as well as your generator, your driving, or if you're plugged into shore power. So a couple different ways to keep these batteries charged up. And that servo is what's tied into those to let you know how much runtime you have on those batteries. Now we're at the driver's side, so you can see your def fill and your other fuel tank. So you also have the more skid plates to get in and out, and there will be a 12-volt plug for your block heater tied in right there. In here, you'll see a little bit of the features going on. Your ignition and your code reader are going to be on the bottom left right there, so you can put your keys in there and turn it on as you're climbing in, so you're not having to fumble around. It also keeps them out of the way. You'll also have your the switch for your air ride seat here, and that'll let you adjust the tension on the seat to raise or lower it. So I'll go ahead and let that down now, so it's easier to get in and out when we're inside. And you do have grab handles on both sides to help you get in and out. So that'll pretty much cover it for the exterior of this. So we'll go inside and talk about what's in there. So while we're at the steps in here, you'll have a couple different features. So right on your right hand side, you'll have your battery disconnect, the entry step override, and emergency start. So emergency start will link both groups of batteries if you kill one or the other to make sure you're not stranded or jump something off. On this other side, you'll have your first of your multiplex control panels. You'll have your awning controls here, light master switch here, that storage light that we talked about here, as well as living room, living floor, porch, and awning lights. So at the entry step, you'll have the patio weave built into the steps just for a little bit more traction, as well as it's all the same material as the countertops inside. So it makes it very easy to clean and less likely to scuff up the floor or anything like that. And most of our coaches, we do put this little floor mat in just to make sure we're not dirtying up the floors as we go. So while Jody's coming inside here, he's gonna show you what it looks like closed up. So back here you have pretty good walking space. Right in front of the door is gonna be your first bathroom. This is a 1.5 bath coach like we talked about, so pretty short distance, get in and out. That way you don't have people walking down towards the back of the coach or towards the front if they're just coming in to go to the bathroom. So we're gonna open up the slides just so we can see what it looks like. So this is a 3-slide unit, so you have opposing living slides. One will be the kitchen slide, one will be the couches and the recliners, or the recliner and the booth dinette, and the other one will be the TV and all the kitchen stuff. And then there will be a bed slide back there. So while we're doing this, one of the cool features with the control panel, it'll be a Firefly control panel. You can connect to this via one of the apps. It tells you which one to download and how to connect it to it in the settings of this. And you can control it through your phone. So if you're outside, you want to let the awning out, or you're the only one on the trip and you need to watch the slides, make sure you're not going to bump the neighbor or anything, you can go outside and watch the slide while still letting the control panel out. So it makes it a 1-person job instead of 2. Just a little bit more convenience. Okay, so now that we got those opened up, we're gonna start with the living area and then work our way back into the bathrooms and the bedroom. So up here, you do have 3 sleeping options in this coach. You do have the U-shaped dinette, your rear bedroom, and then the overhead bed. So any of the Veronas, we usually option with this overhead bed. It is a huge bed, and it does have a ladder up here. So you have lots of light, a skylight up here that's controlled up here. They can also control the front section of the master lights from up here. So if someone's going to bed early and they don't want, the person in the rear doesn't want to get up, turn all the lights and stuff off for them, they can just turn it all off up here. There's a TV included up here, and then there's 2 vents mounted towards the front of this that are tied into the AC. So a lot of this Class C's and Super C's will neglect this cab area, and it does get pretty warm in the summer, pretty cold in the winter. So it just helps us keep it that much more comfortable. So now we'll go around the passenger side. So the first thing we'll talk about is the U-shaped dinette. You do have 2 seat belts on this side, so you can, and 2 seat belts in the theater seats. So you could bring 6 people with you if you wanted to. Just depends on how much you like people. So to convert this into a bed, you'll unlock it underneath, push down, and then you would take these 2 cushions, well, there's one in each side, and put them in the center. So it is a small bed. It's going to be built for kids. You don't want to try and put a full-size adult up there. And with this one being like a U-shaped dinette, these cushions are actually built in, so you don't have to worry about them sliding around, moving, or anything of that nature. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable, especially if you want to use it as a chase lounge and sit sideways to watch TV. So it helps with that. At the dinette, you'll have cup holders built in. You also have outlets with USB and USB-C. So it just makes it that much more functional, especially if someone's going to use this as a bed. You got a place to charge your phone without needing all the blocks and stuff. You'll have MCD roller shades on every window in this coach. So they are day shades, which are down currently, and night shades. So that'll block out all the light, and you do have the window valances that cover all the edges that go all the way around. That way you don't get any of the light creep around the edges for coaches that don't finish that off. Up above, you're going to have lots of storage. It's broken into 2 zones. So these 3 cabinets are all connected. They do have the hinges that help hold them up instead of just a little hydraulic strut that makes it smack the ceiling and stuff. They are all maple cabinets, so they are extremely well built, especially gonna hold up to wear and tear on it. We'll move back a little bit. So we did option this with the theater seating instead of the couch. You lose a little bit of sleeping unless you want someone to sleep sideways or if they're comfortable sleeping in the recliner. It goes pretty flat. You just want to watch your head on the rear of it because they did put a little bit more of that countertop back there. So you don't want to bump your head on that. With that being said, you do have this little bit of countertop, so you can set stuff back there. They also give you a little middle section here that's the same wood as the cabinets, so if you want to set drinks or stuff there. And then in the middle of it, there's also storage that's pretty well hidden here. So you got remote holders as well as a nice deep cubby, and they did put the soft close on that as well. So that's one of the unique things that Renegade will do. So while we close this up, the next thing we'll do is open up the cabinets overhead of this. It'll be the same cabinets as we saw above the dinette. So it'll all be tied in together. So if you want to put larger items up there, you can, or put little baskets to separate it out. You can kind of do whatever you need and not be limited just by space and size. This will be one of the easier spots. So one of the touches that they do is the Renegades have soft touch ceilings, and they carry that into the slide room. So that'll help with the sound deadening as well as the insulation factor and all of it. Because again, it's very repetitive, but they wanted this to be a 4-season coach and be able to be used all year round. And you know, if you are a full-timer, this would work for you. You do have USB outlet over here as well, so carrying that through, and then cup holders built into this. If you want to step back for a second, Jody, one of the things that Renegade's been doing is step cover. So a lot of Super Cs don't have step covers, whereas like the Class A diesels do. So they give you this nice finished piece of wood that you can set over those steps. So you don't fall in, dogs don't fall in or anything while you're traveling or set up on inside. So they put the Renegade logo on it, and home is where you park it. So we try to put it right here because it's like the least likely place for it to rattle around, especially during test drives. All right. So now we'll go over to the kitchen side. So the kitchen side, we'll start over here and then work our way to the actual kitchen stuff. We option this with the fireplace in it, so it's just a fancy space heater. It'll put about 5,000 BTUs in there, so it's good for heating up the living room area. You do have drawers over here, the rocks for the fireplace if you want to make it a little bit more accent. You do have soft close drawers, and then one of the touches that Renegade does, especially on their higher end ones, is they'll use dovetail drawers on everything just to show you the level of quality in that. You do have your TV. It's mounted directly across from the theater seats. It is on a swivel mount, and it does have a sound bar and a subwoofer. So they figured you'd want to make use of a little bit of space on this. So behind the TV, there's a little shelf down here below it. And then I'll make this easy for you to get in, Jody. There's a cabinet on both sides that goes all the way across that behind that TV. So they figured you want to use every nook and cranny in this thing. So they make it where you can. So one of the differences between Verona and Verona LE is the countertops and then the backsplash. So the Verona LE will extend the countertops even further, as well as the backsplash. So in the Verona, you'll have like segments of backsplash, whereas this one, they'll encase the whole kitchen area in that backsplash. You do have a super deep stainless steel sink with a residential sprayer in it. So the sink covers are just to give you more counter space because it's always a commodity. This one is an all-electric coach. So we saw on the outside there's not a propane tank mounted on this. Everything that is done with electric or diesel. With that being said, you'll have a true induction cooktop, so anything a magnet will stick to, you can do that. That pan will work on it, or you can buy specialized induction pans and they'll work even more efficiently. The pan is what gets hot, not the actual glass, so you could take the pan off, put your hand on it, and it'll just be a little warm. It won't be hot like that typical glass burner countertop at home. You'll have an outlet here that's pretty conveniently placed, and then you'll have your convection microwave up top. So this will double as your oven as well as a microwave. They do put a travel lock on it, so to open that you got to squeeze it and then just slide it over. And it is a little bit larger of a convection microwave compared to what a lot of motorhomes are using these days. So up above, more storage. You'll have all the owner's manuals for the chassis and for Renegade. So lots of reading to do if you want to. Down below, you'll have the subwoofer for the sound bar, as well as additional storage, and then a little shelf down here as well. Down below the induction cooktop, you'll have 3 deep drawers. This one will have the water filter, some lubricant, and then some touch-up paints for the exterior. And then this drawer will be all your remotes. It's a little bit shallower just because they're making space for that induction cooktop, but it is still super deep. This will be the first of many. So in this one, you do have adjustable shelves in here. So they like to give you the option to kind of customize the shelves to whatever height that you need. Because this one doesn't have a designated trash can spot under the sink. So you could raise this shelf up, put the trash can under here, and still have like a little cubby above the top portion of it. So it just depends on what you need to do to make it your own. Over to the right, you will have pantry with pull-outs. So they are full extension drawer glides, and they are soft close. So you do have 3 shallow ones and then 2 deep ones for your larger items. And then with this being an all-electric coach, you do have a residential fridge. I believe it's 18 cubic foot. It's the French door style as far as the top, and then a drawer at the bottom. And you do have an ice maker built in down here. So one of the things that I've noticed with Renegade that they do is the travel lock actually has felt pads on the back of it. So even though you're using it for driving down the road, you don't have to worry about the plastic scratching up the stainless steel on the kitchen or the refrigerator door. When you're using this in living mode, you do have blackout curtains that you can pull around up here. The chairs are captain's chairs, so they do make part of the living room. So if you want to block it out, you would undo the Velcro strap here, and then you would just pull the curtain around to make it part of the living room. And you do have that on both sides. And the last portion for the upper bunk is just gonna be, they have a privacy curtain as well. So if they wanted to pull it all the way across and button it closed, that way it doesn't slide around or anything, you can do that as well. So the next portion that we're going to cover in here is going to be the half bath in the middle of the coach, and then we'll go into the bedroom. So in the middle, you're going to have outlets up here, cable connector, and then this will be the awning controls. Your awning is a 110 awning, and you can control it, manually override it from the box right there, as well as the settings on it. The door, you do have a blackout shade in there, just a little bit more privacy if you need it. They do finish the door in the same wood as the cabinetry, and you do have grab handles on both sides of the door when you're wanting to get in, because some people wonder why they have it on one side and not the other. Well, they helped with that. All right, so now we'll go to the half bathroom. So decent bathroom. It is a half bath. This is the one that you'll use for traveling or for guests. You'll have a medicine cabinet in here. You'll have a pretty deep shelves in here. They're shaped like a triangle, so it gives you a lot of space. You'll have your first max air fan up above, so that'll act like an attic fan for those frameless windows. Solid surface sink with the bowl built in, so it's not two separate pieces. And then you also have storage underneath the sink, and then your toilet paper holder built in off to the left. So pretty easy to get to, not having to open a cabinet to get to it. And the little towel hanger here. And then behind me, you'll have your breakers, and then a little more storage up above, and then again, another adjustable shelf so you can kind of decide what you need here. So we'll talk about the pocket doors with this one in the hallway. So on both bathroom doors, they have a little plastic strap to help secure the door. And what that does is keep it from bouncing around during travel, but all of them will also have magnets here. So you can close the door here. There's a little latch in the middle if you wanted to lock that door shut. But they utilize pocket doors so you won't have that hallway shuffle trying to get through each of the spots. So we'll only open this side for these, but this will be your stackable washer and dryer. So obviously dryer on top, it's a little bit lighter, washer on the bottom. Access to the plumbing is through that compartment down there. Makes it a little easier to get to. Then these are like full extension hinges. So it makes it easier to get in and out of this and grab clothes and stuff and still be able to walk by instead of cabinet doors that only open about this and you're having to compress your shoulders together to get through it. Alright. So now we'll do the bathroom, or the bedroom, sorry. So you do have a king bed in here. We'll start off with the above bed storage, and on both sides you'll have outlets with USB built in on both sides of the bed. You'll have storage that goes all the way across up top, and an outlet up there. If you want to put a CPAP up there and punch a hole through it, you can. You do have a ceiling fan in the bedroom if you just want to circulate some more air. So, and then on each side of the bed, there's going to be a little cubby with adjustable shelves. So books, magazines, just electronics, just small things that can go in there. But there's also, again, the same solid surface countertops carried throughout. Any of the areas that you'll set drinks, you don't have to have the coaster, you can just use that. One of the things that I noticed with this one that's slightly different than the Veronas is under the bed is where they store the fresh tanks. This is a two-piece bed platform. So they added this half portion here on gas struts for easy access underneath. So if you want to get to the low point drains or the fresh tank drains in your water pump, you can get to a lot easier. But you can also pull up the whole bed frame if you need to get to everything. So if you want to get back in the corner, Jody, that might be the easiest spot for the storage. So hanging storage on both sides and drawers all the way down. Solid surface countertop with outlet here, and again another day and night shade just to make it a little bit more natural light in here. You have your Samsung Smart TV in here, also on a swivel mount because it's all the way across the bed. If you want to get a little bit closer or angle it towards someone a little bit better, you can. You'll have your AV cabinet with the glass front here, so if you want to put receivers in here, DVD player or anything, the infrared sensors can still go through the glass. More storage here, and then 3 more drawers. And then this right side will be a clone of the left side. So hanging storage and 4 more drawers. All right, so this one is actually the easiest place to see that plastic button. You just pop it loose. You essentially use it during travel, and you can also see the magnet that they use on the back portion right here to lock it. And then you can see how it latches from the inside, and so you slam it and it latches out on its own by accident. You can use a little flat head to turn it. All right, so now we'll cover the back bathroom. So back here you do have a big fiberglass shower. It is radius. It's plenty large, so I have plenty of elbow room here. If you drop something, you can still get down and get it. I'm 5'10". I can touch up in the skylight, so it should be good for taller people. On that, you do have the adjustable shower head here, so if you're shorter, taller, it is a wand if you want to do that. Soap tray, hot and cold water there, and then storage and a seat if you need it, or just more storage. This is held with magnets, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there's a travel lock right here that ties it together so it doesn't bounce open while you're traveling. Alright, so this will be the main bathroom since it has the shower and the toilet and stuff. Your sink, it's a little bit longer than the other one. It's side mounted, so it's a little bit easier to use. If you want to stick your face down in it to brush your teeth or wash your face, you can. You just do it on the right side. You'll have medicine cabinet up above. It opens the opposite way of the other one. Adjustable storage here, another little vanity light. And then you'll have storage that goes all the way to this side and all the way back to here. This one is hard mounted storage, so it's not on adjustable shelves. The countertop extends all the way, so you could set more stuff on it. You do have a towel rod here and an outlet back here if you need hair dry or anything. Toilet paper holder fixed down there. And then you also have a couple shelves down there. And then again, those ones are adjustable. So if you want to put small towels, rags, or anything of that nature down there, you can. Both toilets are going to be porcelain electric flush toilets. So easy to clean, easy to maintain, and just a little bit nicer finish that you'd expect on a higher end coach. And then just one more cabinet up above. And then obviously another hanging rod down here. I'll squeeze past you, Jody. What we'll do is look down at the floor a little bit. So in the Verona LE, they go from the laminate, the LVP flooring to your first section. This is the first one where you actually get tile floor in it. So that's why we have those extra tiles down below. If you damage anything, you could do that. So the Verona LE is when you start getting all those luxury features that you get with the Renegade lines. So they realize you're spending a little bit more. You have higher expectations as far as the features and stuff. So we have two more things left to cover. It'll be the control panel and then the chassis. So on the control panel, it's your standard Firefly. The home button, you'll have a lot of the info up here. You'll have a light master switch that you can control. You can see your AC temperatures and the current temperatures in there. If you have the aqua hot settings turned on, preheat for preheating the engine, electric or burner if you're using electric to heat the aqua hot, the glycol mixture, or the diesel burner in there. You can see all your tank levels, water pump, and those 12-volt tank heaters that we talked about. Your house batteries, chassis batteries, your generator settings here, or your auto gen start. Lights, you'll have all your individual lights here. So interior master, front master. So the front will just be the front half of it. Interior master is all of it. Any of the lights with the up, down, those are dimmable. You have front and rear sections done here, so you can separate them. And exterior lighting for outside. Next category is going to be electric. So you can set up AGS controls in here. It shows power, where your power is going. So generator to the transfer to the breaker box to the inverter. You can see what's pulling what's turned on, and how everything's set up. You can also access your Victron servo settings from in here and see where power is going from there. Next one will be your climate controls. So with this coach, you have quite a few forms of heat. So 3 different versions of heat, but a couple different ways to do it. So both of your ACs are 15K ACs with heat pumps. So if you need to warm it up, you can use heat pumps. You can use that fireplace that we talked about, or you can use the aqua hot. So the aqua hot, the heat pumps, and the fireplace, when it's all turned on together, you can heat this up pretty quickly. Bay climate's its own category. That's that third zone we talked about with the aqua hot. Your vent fans will be the max air fans. So that'll be the rear bathroom fan and the half bath. And then also another section to turn on how your aqua hot's being heated. Next one's going to be bunk shades and the ceiling fan in the bedroom. Your slide room controls, so your bed slide, your front slide, and the other front slide. You can also control leveling from here or the awnings from here. So this panel can let you control pretty much everything in this coach. And then the last one is going to be settings. Mobile app will tell you which app to download, as well as what connections, what you need to connect to. You also have the aqua-hot diagnostics, the units that it's in, the model of the unit, your screen brightness, as well as the time. So that'll be it for that control panel. The last thing that we'll cover up here is some of the chassis features. I pushed the bunk out of the way, so it does give you a lot more room to get in and out when this is pushed back. So it just makes it that much easier. I don't know how much Jody's going to be able to see, but we'll go through it. So both of the captain's chairs are heated seats. You do have a low and a high set on them. They do heat up very quickly, and they are very warm. So it is one of the nicer heated seats that are in motorhomes. So we'll go ahead and start this up. So we're gonna start it in the middle this time and then work our way over to the driver cockpit. So the center, your main brain for this is gonna be the Garmin. So it's gonna be your camera, it's gonna be your GPS. It's gonna have all of your features in it that you want for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and things of that nature. So this will be the main control panel there. On the sides, you'll have cigarette lighter, USB ports, 12-volt power outlet. Your electric brake controller gain is controlled right here. There's the second place to control your leveling. It's also the main control panel if you want to do it there. And then again, more to headphone jack or a USB here. Docking lights will be for the outside, your truck and trailer camera, depending on what you want to see on this display. The engine shutdown override. For emergencies if you need it, utility lights for the outside, footwell light, as well as the hazard lights. So they make it a bright red button, as well. It's a lot easier to find. Like on my car, I can't ever find the hazard lights if I need to turn it on because I don't ever use it, but it's in a weird spot. Work lights, the active braking assist if you want to turn off, like the collision mitigation, the lane departure warning if you want to turn that off, and the auto traction control if you want to turn that off. So one of the things that's cool with Renegades is they have a couple features on the M2106 that some of the other brands won't use. You do have a rear locking diff as well as a rear suspension dump. So that suspension dump will make it easier to hook up trailers without having to extend that tongue jack all the way up. So it just makes it a little bit easier. You toggle it on, it'll just dump the bags in the rear. Your climate controls are all going to be right here, very easy to get to. The passenger can also reach them if they get hot or cold, so it makes it a little bit more comfortable. So the next thing we'll cover is the driver cockpit. So you do have the parking brake here. All of your controls on the newer Freightliner chassis is going to be on the columns. So you're no more looking for that pad to shift gears or lock out gears or changing into drive, neutral, or reverse. So all that'll be done by rotating this around, drive, neutral, and then reverse, all done in the same spot. If you wanted to do manual or automatic, if you're climbing down a mountain or want to keep it in a lower gear, you would just push this in until it switches, and then you can paddle shift it up and down this way. Your exhaust brake is also controlled on this right column. So you can have it off, low, medium, or high. I'm sorry, it's not an exhaust, it's an engine brake on this one. That's how you have the 3 stages to it. Your cruise control and lights are going to be on this right portion of the steering wheel, as well as answering and hanging up the phone. On the left side of the steering wheel will be volume and navigating the dash up here. So you do have access to seeing your digital speedometer there if you don't want to look at the analog one. You'll have automatic headlights that you can choose automatic on and off back here, however you want to set that up. On this display, you'll have quite a few things that you can monitor in here. They do have tire pressure monitoring built in, so it just makes it a little bit more convenient. You don't have to get that aftermarket system. You can see engine hours and then all the health of the vehicle, and as well if there's any alerts. So you'll have your RPMs, you'll have your oil pressure, you'll have your fuel and def gauge here. So we have them both full right now, but there's a blue needle right behind that fuel needle right there, and that'll be your def level. So you can see them because they're usually at 2 different spots, but since we have it filled up, they're on top of each other. You can see as the parking brake is engaged, Also, the speedometer's here, your air pressure's here. So you do have 2 ping tanks on this, so you'll have the white needle and the blue needle for your first and second, just like with the fuel gauge, as well as your coolant temperature in here. And then the last thing to cover on this in the cockpit will be the mirrors. So we talked about on the outside, those top mirrors are electric. You push the buttons over here to control it. You can move them with the left and the right, and you can also turn on the defroster right there. So it just, again, helps with that colder climate and makes it that much easier. But that's pretty much it for this one. So it's been 2025 Renegade Verona LE 40LRB. I believe it's the last Verona LE that we have, so if you want any information on it or want to come check it out and get your own, feel free to message me. My cell phone is 404-936-6215. If you prefer to email, it's justin.rogers@transwest.com. This has been an awesome coach, and we'll continue the trend next week. See ya.